Alright, this is a talkie. I haven't done one of these for a while, since February, when this bedridden stuff started. Hard to know what to say, nothing's changed, nothing changes anymore. At the beginning, there was a lot to report, paranormal stuff. I was my own subject, basically. Yeah, there was quite a lot to report, and I had the mind capacity to report it. And the sense of humour. I don't have much of that anymore, that's for sure. Every day is the same. Every day is a nightmare, pure torment. Basically, the things that have been taken from me, let me try and list them. I don't know why I feel embarrassed to say all this, because being honest is hard work. I've always found honesty quite difficult. Alright, so taken, yeah. It's like that UFO thing, taken. Right, taken. What was he taken? My mind. Sense of humour. My music. Playing and listening. Watching TV. Reading. Writing. Talking. All I can say is that if his name is Alex, that he must be a really hateful spirit to do this. I don't think I deserve a death sentence for using the spirit box. And I don't know of any other cases where it's happened, that makes it even more difficult to be believed. I know of cases where people have done EVP and spirit box and they've started to hear voices. And there was that couple that done EVPs and they both committed suicide. Well, murder-suicide, I think. So, yes, bad stuff does happen to people who mess with the paranormal. I think that much is known. But this kind of thing, this kind of infirmity, illness, it's not even in the Bible. I mean, you got Jesus casting out demons at the touch of into a set of pigs. To be honest, the stuff in the Bible I'm finding harder and harder to believe. Like Moses parting the sea, Jonah flipping into the belly of a fish and then rising again 3 days later. What else? I know the Bible quite well now because, one, all I do is listen to these damn sermons all day. It seems to be the only thing I can listen to these days, even though I'm absolutely traumatised by it. But yeah, the more I hear biblical stories, the more stressy it is, because, I hear people talking about deliverance, and they think you just need to say a few prayers, blah, blah, blah. Read the Bible, that's all they say. I can't read the Bible anymore. I can't read any book anymore. So what happens when that gets taken from you as a Christian? Because I did become a Christian. I can't pray. I know one thing, prayer did affect this spirit, but he wouldn't go. It didn't make him go. So I get quite frustrated when I hear people say about how easy it is to cast out spirits. It's not easy to cast out spirits whatsoever. Not this one. They told me on the spirit box that I would die. They said you'll die. I didn't believe it. Not at the beginning. I do now. There's only so much your body can take. If you're not eating, you're not sleeping, sooner or later you're going to die of something. Malnutrition. I worry all the time, how am I going to die? You know, I mean, I want to just have a heart attack or something simple. I don't want to get cancer because I'll be too ill to go to the hospital for treatment. So I just, no, the thought of that is not good. And what do you say to the doctor? Why are you in bed all day, Miss Shaw? Because I'm possessed. Are you taking your depot? Yes, I was having an injection in my arse and it was done absolutely fuck all. The same as the antidepressants, done absolutely fuck all. So I stopped. But that's not why I'm talking about spirits. I was talking about them while I was getting the depot, but you mentioned to a psychiatrist, it's a supernatural illness. Because they're like, what's wrong with you then? Because they've done physical tests. When I was in the orchards, they took some bloods and done physical tests. There's nothing wrong with me like that. Nothing wrong with me. So why am I not eating? Why am I not sleeping? It shows there's something wrong, but it's just not chemical. It's not, it's not natural. It's not a natural illness, it's a supernatural illness. I did say possessions never end well. You look at Annalise, that's The Haunting of Emily Rose, it was called on TV. But her real name was Annalise. She was a German Catholic girl. And she became possessed. And she died of malnutrition, I think. She looked rough. I mean, picture of her at the beginning, she looked normal. And by the end, she looked far from normal. My looks have changed as well, but luckily I haven't got great big dark circles under my eyes like that. But my looks aren't getting better, that's for sure. My hair's gone all weird and wiry. I do try and straighten it a bit, but what's the point? So here I am watching the hours go by as usual. At least I'm not listening to sermons. I'm running out of sermons to listen to. Who have I listened to? T.D. Jakes, Pastor Keon Henderson, Carl Lentz, Wade Noble, Stephen Furtick. I've listened to them all. As I say, I'm losing faith in the Bible. No one seems to know how to properly cast out spirits. Even Christians don't believe half of it. They kept telling me I was free, and I wasn't free. If I do get what I call a snatch-it, which is about 10-minute sleep, I wake up feeling horrible and I can feel the spirit vibrating in my body still. It doesn't vibrate in my body like it used to, but that's because I don't sleep. I don't get woken up by it. He does still speak to me in my mind, not as often. I preferred it when he was speaking in my mind. At least I felt more normal. Ironically. So, another night. Another day. Every day is the same. What do you do? Who are you going to call? Especially with COVID going on. You can't get proper prayer. You can't get hands-on prayer. I might have tried that as a last resort. Hands-on prayer. I keep saying I wish I'd never messed with that spirit box, but I think that goes without saying. It goes without saying, really. Back to the Bible, though. Let's get some biblical stuff going on. The Bible. Genesis. Original sin. I think this is partly why I use the spirit box, because I didn't believe the warnings in the Bible. That's the one thing that they got right when they said don't contact the dead. But, yeah, Genesis. No, the virgin birth, that's the one that gets me. Listening to sermons about the virgin birth, and I see perfectly intelligent people, and they're saying 12-year-old girl got pregnant by the Holy Spirit. I'm thinking teenage pregnancy. They would have stoned her if she hadn't have said something outrageous like that. And her husband wasn't going to marry her, or something like that. Even when it was him that probably impregnated her. You know? Let's face it. I do believe in angels. I do believe in God. And I do believe in Jesus, because I've seen him. I've seen him or someone like that walk through my house once. I was taken up in my body somewhere for about 20 seconds, and I felt someone behind me who was dressed like a king, and I had my hands over his hands. He had his hands on my shoulders, and I had my hands over his hands, and he whispered into my neck, "And I know why." And oh my God, his voice that sent tingles into my body for about 20 minutes after that experience. So I do believe in Jesus. I do. I'm just having problems with the Bible stories of Jesus. Because he was a baby, and the only times he's mentioned up until he was 30 were when he was a baby, conceived by an angel, by the Holy Spirit. Then when he was in the temple, when he was 12, when they lost him, and he said, I'm about my Father's business. And that was the last time he's heard of until he's 30. And then he gets baptized by his cousin, who just appears out of nowhere as well. So it's all kind of weird. And then you got the walls of Jericho. That's another story I find hard to believe. That they marched around the city. I believe they marched around the city. Marched around the city 7 times in 7 days, and then 7 more times the last day. And then they shout and the walls fall down. I can't see that somehow. I've never known someone to shout and big walls fall down. Look, it's not to say I don't believe in miracles either. I do believe in some miracles. I just don't believe some of the biblical miracles. I think the closest person I believe in the Bible is Paul, Apostle Paul, his life. Mind you, even then he's supposed to, was it him that was supposed to raise someone from the dead? I know Jesus did, but I think Apostle Paul tried, or did, I'm not sure. But he's the most believable one, him and Peter. Yeah. So my life has gone pretty biblical these days. I mean, all this religious stuff, but it's traumatizing me. I used to have faith and enjoy my faith, and I used to feel faith, But now I don't feel faith, but I feel the need to listen to this religious stuff. I can't listen to anything else. Usually this time of the day I'm laying down listening to sermons. Any addicts that listen to this, when I'm bedridden, being in bed all day is awful. It's truly awful when you can't read to keep yourself occupied, you can't do anything, you just lay there. It's a compulsion. I try and stand up and do things, but my legs won't hold me up. I can't even sit up properly anymore. I just can't get comfortable when I'm sitting up or standing up, walking. I mean, I do still occasionally go out. I met someone when I was at the orchards, and he comes up and visits me, and I can't exactly stay in bed when he comes in. He's taken me to the pub Thursday. I'm wondering how I'm going to manage. Just sitting there trying to be normal, when really I know that I'm a big fraud. That's what I feel like. Living on borrowed time. Everything's about borrowed time. Eventually you got to pay the piper. In one way or another. If you're not eating, you're going to get ill. I've literally survived on one McDonald's burger a day for quite a while now. And the odd mouthful of something here and there, but nothing much. But the weird thing is, I can feel my body get hungry, but I just can't handle the food. All food tastes like cardboard now. I don't even enjoy any drinks. I don't get pleasure out of anything. It's like Alex has stolen the pleasure aspect. Somehow, it's chemically affected my body. So that chemically, I don't get any pleasure out of anything. Food, drink. I don't have hot drinks. I can't even get it together to make one. Even just standing up waiting for the kettle to boil, I'm standing there like a retard. And I do look like a flipping retard. That bloke was right. When he said that insult, you look like an exhausted, mentally retarded person. He's not far wrong. But he knew about Alex as well, so those that do believe you, but they believe that they can get the spirit out of me, and that's just not happening. I mean, if they can't even do it hands-on, and this is religious people, if they can't get the spirit out hands-on, there's no way it's coming out over the internet. I've had deliverance, and it doesn't work over the internet. Not for me. What can you do? All I can do is be honest. People might think I'm being dramatic, saying that I'm going to die and all this type of thing. But the thought of living like this for another week, let alone years, terrifies me. There's no way I can live like this for years. No way. The only reason I want to stay alive is because of my sons. Youngest one needs me, because if something happens to me, then he's homeless. The older one, I miss seeing him, being around him, being there for him. And that's the only reason that I want to stay alive, is because of my youngest son, having a roof over his head. But I feel like I let him down badly by using that spirit box and getting myself into this sort of trouble. Because I was always the kind of person, no matter what kind of trouble I got myself into, I knew there was always an escape hatch somewhere. Even when I was an addict, there was an escape hatch here and there. And I managed to live a relatively normal life. So, what to do? And it's lonely. It's lonely being like this. You see people living normal lives. It's hard not to be envious or jealous. But I'm not jealous of them. It just makes me think of when I was normal. It saddens me. Well, that's 21 minutes, not bad. I didn't think I'd be able to do another talkie. I thought that other one would be my last, but I've got to try and maintain as much normality as I can. Plus, I'm getting restless. I mean, that's the worst thing, laying down, watching the hours go by, especially at night when you can't sleep. I'm just getting restless. Oh yeah, that's why I was talking about addiction. When you come off drugs and you lay there and your legs ache and you start moving your legs about because you can't get comfortable. This is what this feels like. I'm laying there and I can't get comfortable and I'm moving my legs about for hours on end. Just laying there knowing I'm not going to sleep. There's nothing worse because around about 12 o'clock I used to take my sleeping pills in the past. And I knew, I used to enjoy being up there, I must admit. I enjoyed my own company, playing music and reading, watching TV. And then I'd take my sleepers about 7 and they'd kick in round about 12. Mind you, sometimes I didn't go to bed till about 3, but at least I knew I'd get sleep. And I'd be able to dream, which doesn't happen anymore. I'm lucky if I get 10 minutes snatch it. And I don't get that until the morning usually. And believe me, there's nothing worse than seeing light come in through the curtains when you haven't had any sleep. My neighbours are probably wondering what's happened to me. My curtains are shut all day. That was accidental. Yeah, and the place is a mess. I can't get it together to do any cleaning. Got cobwebs here and there. Harry's doing his best to try and get me to eat, things like that. He's doing his best coping with the situation, but he's on antidepressants. And if anything happens to him, he's going to have no money of his own. He's going to be homeless. He's not even going to be able to collect his medication. He's got no ID. We tried getting him ID, but because of COVID, they weren't doing driving license applications at the time. So now we've got to go through it again. Got to get a driving license application. I don't think you can do it online. Well, apparently you can pay for it online, but I don't know how you're supposed to do the form online when you got to get someone to sign it and stuff like that. And then you got to sort your photo out. I don't know if you've got to scan it in. We haven't got a scanner. But that's one thing I've got to do for Harry before anything does happen to me. I've got to try and get him ID so that he can at least try and sign on. But I hope that his dad picks up the slack. I know he's not going to want to go and live with his dad, but he might have to. And I hope that Ray sorts it out, helps him out, because he's going to be in a mess. Sonny, if you're listening, help Harry out if you can. So I do worry about both of you. That's the only reason I've actually in this life for my kids. Well, I know I've not been the best mother, having problems like I've had, but I have tried. And I just hope that my kids remember the good me, the happy me, the mad me, the crazy me, but the good crazy me. Not this shell of a person. No. So that's that. The reality is, it's not like in the movies. I mean, you've got to think they've got to fit in everything. At the beginning, it was like the movies, but then it became very unlike the movies. You've got to think these directors have got to make it look good, and they've got to fit everything into about an hour. And the only cases I know of is The Exorcist, which was a boy originally, not a girl. He was a boy and he managed to get free, lucky bastard. His bed vibrated, just like mine did. His bed vibrated. But he had priest galore around him. Then there was Annalise, who didn't get free, and she died of malnutrition. I believe she's free now. I did say to them at the beginning of all this, I said, when are you going to leave Hotel D? I didn't take it seriously. They said, when you die. And they did say, you'll die. Things have got pretty heavy. Yep. Pretty damn heavy. I think that'll do for a minute. Let's see how this is.